Hmm. No, no, definitely. Just continuing then with Baba Santa Singh Ji, post Operation Bluestar, what happens? What is actually going on?
Baba Santa Singh Ji, as you know, the head of Buddha Dal, historically has right on reconstructing Akal Takht Sahib. So just as in Ahluwalia, when the Afghans destroyed Akal Takht, took on the seva of building it, Kali Fulla Singh Ji sat there. Baba Sahib Singh Kalatari, who Baba Santa Singh joined the dal under, was the Jathedar of Akal Takht by to many people's view the legitimate one, and Baba Santa Singh was the successor of that. So from a forget people's emotions for a minute, as hard as that is to do, purely from a historical perspective, it was Baba Santa Singh's responsibility to ensure that the Akal Takht was built. In their own katha, they speak of their reasons for doing that seva. The army was in Amritsar at the time. The army was refusing to leave until reconstruction was done. The Akalis who walked out with their hands up, to my mind, the propaganda against Baba Santa Singh Ji is, it's one of the great political plays of the Akali Dal and the SUPC. They walked out with their hands up. There's letters even indicating they were in direct contact with Indira Gandhi at the time, instigating the attack. And somehow Baba Santa Singh's the enemy. And what Baba Santa Singh says in their own katha is the army was in Amritsar. If the army stayed in Amritsar, apni nasal badal jani si. They're effectively talking about where soldiers stay, soldiers start to commit rape, and you're at a point of ethnic cleansing. So Baba Santa Singh is measuring how bad is this situation going to get in Punjab, and the army being here is not going to do any good for our people. So Baba Santa Singh Ji's priority is in getting the army out. And the Akalis had written to all the Sant Mahapurush of the time, and the SUPC had written to them saying no one's going to take on the seva. They themselves now start to undertake morche to regain credibility amongst the people. Although Punjab people say, Loki, how did everyone else die, but these guys walk out with their hands up? So they started to build Shahidi Jathe. And in Baba Santa Singh Ji's, all this meant was old men getting young men to die so that they can maintain political credibility. And it's not that in Sikhi we shy away from Shahidi being part of our tradition, but that doesn't mean we're not wise and discerning to recognize that these old men are going to be the same ones in power regardless of how many people die. And then eventually when the Akalis started this Shahidi Jatha of women, so they're now sending women to liberate the Akal Takht against the army. Like, what's going to happen at the point that gets provoked? As a leader of the Panth, Baba Santa Singh was not going to allow our women to go and get shot by the army in this political stunt that the Akalis had done to liberate the Akal Takht. So when he wrote to a lot of the other Santa Mahapur saying, just get the seva done and get the army out and then let whatever happens afterwards happen. This needs to be the priority just now. Then eventually, reluctantly, Baba Santa Singh Ji takes on that seva. And he says this himself. He asked everyone beforehand, the Kar Seva Sant, step forward, get the seva done. What's happened is now happened. Get the army out of Amritsar. And maybe in Baba Santa Singh Ji's mind, maybe they did think, yeah, I'll go back in, I'll get the Akal Takht done, and we'll go back to the days of where Nahang Singh's rule from the Akal Takht. Maybe he did. Maybe if anyone in that position would. But ultimately, the seva that he did, the stigma that he got from the community, the hatred that he got, he came in and he effectively announced on stage that the Akalis conspired with the government for this attack to happen. They are Tankhaiye, they are apostates from the Panth. The Akalis hold their own separate rally to say Baba Santa Singh has conspired with the government. He's an apostate from the Panth. Their propaganda machinery in Punjab is more powerful. The sentiments of people are such that you've got a bad guy now who's working with the government. But effectively, what did he do? He got the Akal Takht constructed. He brought in Nahang Singhs to do the seva. For years we heard rumors of, the seva was done like this, the seva was done like that. There's videos showing Nahang Singhs, old Nahang Singhs, doing the seva with their hands. And then he gave the keys of the Akal Takht back to the SGPC and Akal Takht once the army was gone. So he didn't, for whatever people think at that time, like, it's not an easy decision to make. And it's a decision that you make that's going to attract criticism, but it was a big decision that he made, and a decision as an elder leader of the Panth had seen a lot of different times. Is a decision that you can understand that he made. What was the Dal to financially gain from it? There's no evidence of any financial gain from the Dal. The Dal's lands and the Dal's sites that amount to a vast amount of wealth. That, fair enough, they're controlled in a small number of hands and not well utilized, but it was ample enough that he had no reason to be financially incentivized by the government. He had nothing to gain from it politically. He didn't. He had to gain from it, all he had was to lose, and he did lose, because from that point onwards, having been for much of his life a prominent figure of the Sikhs, being sidelined, pushed aside, and ostracized, but yet his decision saved countless lives.